lot of misinformation, disinformation, and you can watch it now as we see the cars screaming around a roundabout in Birmingham, not far away from Jess Phillips' constituency, but there's no police to be seen anywhere. So, I mean, I'm sorry, if you're going to pretend that there is no two-tier policing, I'm afraid this would suggest...
Tensions are erupting in the UK as a once peaceful city descends into chaos. Armed Islamic extremists have appeared on the streets, sparking outrage and criticism of the police. Attacks on Christian communities by masked Islamic extremists have left the British public deeply concerned. As protests clash, the city teeters on the edge of disorder. Stay tuned as we explore this urgent situation, and don't forget to subscribe to the Anywhere Diary channel for the latest updates. To understand the roots of the ongoing conflicts, we must delve deeper into the causes leading to the current tensions. Both Muslims and native residents in England have their own reasons for feeling oppressed, which has resulted in extreme reactions and conflicts. Many Muslims in England feel they are treated unfairly and face discrimination. Despite living and working here for many years, they continue to experience prejudice and are seen as outsiders in society. Incidents like the vandalism of mosques, public acts of discrimination, and hate speech on social media have intensified the outrage within this community. Recently, attacks by extremist groups on symbols of Islam, such as the arson of a mosque in Birmingham, have pushed the anger to a boiling point. Worshippers feel unprotected and compelled to defend their rights. They believe that while authorities turn a blind eye to these actions, Muslims are treated like criminals whenever they stand up for themselves. However, it is essential to recognize that not all Muslims share the same attitude. Within this community, there are extremist elements that exploit the situation to incite violence, turning peaceful protests into dangerous confrontations. The sight of masked men carrying weapons parading in the streets and chanting extremist slogans has created a wave of fear and tension among the public. Conversely, many native residents in England feel that their country is being invaded by waves of immigrants and foreign cultures. The sense of losing control and concern over the threat to their native culture has led many to support anti-immigration movements and far-right groups. They believe that the government has failed to protect the rights of native citizens, and it is up to them to defend their culture and way of life. Protests by far-right groups, such as the English Defence League, EDL, and Britain First, have become increasingly common. Demonstrations with slogans like "Our England" have become a familiar sight on the streets of London, Manchester, and Birmingham. They demand that the government reduce immigration numbers and take tougher measures against the Muslim community. The rising tension and hatred have resulted in numerous clashes with police and Muslims. However, it cannot be denied that some segments of the native community have engaged in extremist actions. Vandalizing property, burning mosques, and attacking individuals simply because they are Muslim have complicated the situation even further. This not only incites outrage within the Muslim community, but also exacerbates divisions and tensions among different community groups. One undeniable factor is the role of the media in inflating and inciting the situation. Many newspapers and television channels have focused on one-sided reporting, emphasizing violent incidents involving Muslims while neglecting deeper causes and other aspects of the issue. This has created a distorted picture that fuels fear and hatred in public opinion. Numerous sensational headlines like "Muslims are taking over England" or "Immigrants are destroying native culture" have sparked outrage among the native community. Meanwhile, pro-immigration outlets have concentrated on exposing acts of discrimination and calling for empathy, further deepening the divisions in public sentiment. The underlying causes mentioned have led to a series of problems that England is currently facing. The deepening divide between communities and the escalating violence have become a serious threat to social stability. To gain a clearer understanding, we need to look at specific events that have occurred. In recent years, the UK has witnessed a significant increase in protests and religious violence. According to a report by the Home Office, incidents related to religious hate crimes rose by 26% in 2022, with over 8,000 recorded cases. Notably, a large portion of these incidents targeted the Muslim and Christian communities. A prime example occurred in Birmingham in March of this year, when hundreds of Muslims marched through the streets with banners protesting against discrimination and violence directed at them. This demonstration quickly escalated into a confrontation with the police and far-right protest groups, resulting in numerous clashes and arrests. This event not only shocked public opinion, but also sparked similar protests across the country. Moreover, in July of last year, a group of extremist Muslims attacked a Catholic church in Manchester, vandalising a statue of the Virgin Mary and leaving behind threatening banners. This incident triggered a wave of outrage within the Christian community and led to several protests demanding that authorities take stronger action against extremists. Concurrently, far-right groups in England are also growing stronger, organising a series of anti-Muslim protests across the country. Groups like the English Defence League, EDL, and Britain First have capitalised on the tense situation to rally support for their extremist views. Their protests are not only aimed at opposing immigration, but also seek to completely eliminate the presence of Muslims in England. In September of last year, thousands participated in an EDL protest in London, demanding the government close the borders and deport all extremist Muslims. This demonstration quickly escalated into violence as protesters clashed with police and vandalised shops owned by Muslims. As a result, over 30 people were injured and dozens were arrested. These issues have created a serious state of social unrest. According to a YouGov survey, as many as 45% of Britons believe that their country is threatened by the rising number of immigrants, and 52% feel that the government has failed to manage the situation. A lack of trust in the government and fears of violence have led many citizens to be concerned about the future of the nation. Many native residents feel they are being marginalised as the government focuses excessively on protecting the rights of immigrants while neglecting their own. This has resulted in a troubling increase in violence and hate crimes targeting immigrants. In light of the escalating tensions between the Muslim community and native residents, several solutions have been proposed to de-escalate the situation and promote social harmony. However, not all solutions receive widespread support, with many opinions suggesting that these measures are merely superficial and do not address the root causes of the issues. Public discourse has presented various solutions and perspectives on this matter as follows. Many experts argue that dialogue between different communities is a crucial factor in de-escalating tensions and finding common ground. Meetings, workshops, and forums have been organised in various locations, involving religious leaders, community representatives, and government officials. The aim of these events is to create a space for individuals to express their views, share concerns, and seek peaceful solutions. However, there are numerous opinions suggesting that these dialogues are often superficial and do not genuinely impact the actual situation. Many believe that when discontent has reached a boiling point, these discussions serve as mere drops in the bucket and cannot quell the outrage within the community. Additionally, extremist elements, both within the Muslim community and among native residents, are often unwilling to participate in these dialogues and continue to maintain their hardline stances. Another solution that has garnered considerable support is the enhancement of security and the implementation of stricter measures against those who incite violence and cause disturbances. The government has deployed additional police forces and implemented tighter surveillance in areas with a high risk of potential violence. Many arrests have been made of individuals exhibiting extremist behaviour during protests, and several extremist organisations have been banned from operating. While these measures have helped control the situation in the short term, they have also faced significant opposition from public opinion. Many argue that enforcing strict measures only exacerbates divisions and outrage within the community, making the situation even more complex. Human rights organisations have criticised the government's use of violence and mass arrests, claiming that these actions violate the rights to free expression and assembly of citizens. Alongside this, a long-term solution proposed by many is to enhance education and mutual understanding among communities. Multicultural and religious education programs have been integrated into the curriculum at various schools to help students gain a deeper understanding of different religions and cultures, thereby fostering tolerance and mutual respect. Moreover, numerous NGOs and community groups have organised cultural exchange activities such as festivals, exhibitions and art events, creating opportunities for people to engage with and learn about one another. These efforts have received support from many, particularly the youth, who believe that understanding and respecting one another is key to building a peaceful and united society. However, some opinions argue that these efforts are still too small and insufficient to effect change. They assert that education and awareness raising need to be implemented on a larger scale and receive strong backing from the government to create real societal changes. One of the main reasons behind the current tensions is the issue of immigration and the rapid increase of the Muslim population in the UK. Many believe that the government needs to adopt stricter immigration policies to manage the number of immigrants and ensure societal stability. Measures such as enhancing border control, limiting immigration avenues, and deporting lawbreakers have been proposed and gained support from some segments of the population. However, tightening immigration policies has also faced significant opposition, especially from human rights organisations and immigration advocates. They argue that restricting immigration not only violates human rights, but also exacerbates discrimination and division within society. Additionally, many contend that the problem lies not in the number of immigrants, but in the government's management and support for integrating newcomers. Religious and community leaders play a crucial role in guiding and influencing the beliefs and actions of followers within their communities. Both Muslim and Christian leaders have repeatedly urged their followers to remain calm, refrain from being provoked by acts of violence, and seek peaceful solutions. These calls have helped alleviate tensions in certain instances and prevented potential conflicts from escalating into violence. However, extremist leaders still exist within both the Muslim community and among locals, consistently inciting and advocating for violent and hateful actions. They exploit the situation to propagate extremist ideologies, creating division and undermining societal unity. This makes finding solutions more challenging and necessitates stronger intervention from the government. The prolonged tension has left severe consequences for both the Muslim community and the native people in England. It has not only affected the daily lives of the citizens, but also left deep scars in their psyche and society. Let us take a closer look at the main consequences that this situation has caused. One of the most serious consequences of the ongoing tension is the increase in hate crimes. According to data from the UK Home Office, the number of religious and ethnic hate crimes has doubled in the past 5 years, with over 100,000 incidents reported in 2022 alone. These incidents do not just include acts of abuse or threats, but also serious violent acts such as weapon attacks, property destruction, and even murder. Many Muslims have reported feeling fearful when going out, especially women wearing hijabs, as they often become targets for extremists. Many have had to change their daily routines, limiting their outings at night or avoiding high-risk areas. Additionally, a significant number of native residents also feel uneasy about the presence of extremist Muslim groups, believing that the presence of immigrants threatens their safety. The deep divide between communities has led to a crisis of trust and solidarity within society. Many citizens believe that the government and social organisations have been inadequate and lack the determination to address the situation, causing them to feel insecure and lose faith in the future. This has resulted in a rise in support for far-right and populist movements, which often exploit public discontent to promote xenophobic and hateful agendas. Moreover, the lack of unity in society is clearly reflected in the rise of self-defense groups and extremist organizations. These groups frequently organize marches and protests, sometimes leading to conflict and violence. Their presence not only escalates tensions, but also creates an environment filled with fear and instability, where people must live in anxiety and suspicion of one another. The ongoing tension has also had a severe impact on the economy and social life. Many businesses, especially those owned by immigrants or Muslims, have had to close or scale back their operations due to concerns about being attacked. This not only affects their income, but also increases the unemployment rate within the community, adding further strain to the social welfare system. Additionally, the violence and instability have diminished the appeal of major cities like London, Birmingham, and Manchester to tourists and investors. Many international events have been cancelled or postponed, and there has been a significant decline in tourist numbers in recent months. This has resulted in substantial losses for the tourism industry and related services, putting many businesses at risk of bankruptcy. The ongoing tension and violence in the UK is not just a security or social issue, but also a wake-up call about deeper problems within the social structure and immigration policies. To truly address the situation, strong cooperation and commitment are needed from all parties, including the government, the Muslim community, native citizens, and social organisations. A peaceful and united society cannot be built merely through calls to action or temporary measures. It requires genuine changes at the root level, including promoting mutual understanding, reforming immigration policies, and establishing a fair and effective social welfare system. Only when everyone feels respected and has equal opportunities can we genuinely build a peaceful and prosperous society. What are your thoughts on this issue? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the Anywhere Diary channel for more updates.